Hi, I'm David with Credit Educators One, and just wanted to take just a few minutes to give a brief overview of what I think is one of the most valuable services and tools that you can provide for a potential home buyer. Whether you have very low scores and you're trying to get your scores up higher and get a very precise, very customized strategy developed for you so that you become a homeowner, or you're like this particular client here who's already in a qualifying score at 620, but would like to get their scores higher because if we can get up to a 640, a whole world opens up to us. It's going to be easier to qualify. They're going to get a potentially much better rates, or I should say better rates, or at the very least, a much higher potential lender credit that could help them out with their closing costs. Also, the one of the extreme values of this service is especially with people who have very low credit scores and they think credit repair is going to be their answer. This service right here, in my opinion, would be a mandatory prerequisite before anyone considers paying hundreds of dollars to a credit repair agency because we can determine whether or not credit repair is going to actually be beneficial for them or not. So, with that in mind, let's just do this as quickly as possible. And then if you're intrigued by what you see, then please see the longer, more exhaustive version of this particular report. And I think you'll see the extraordinary value this brings to if you're a real estate agent, to your potential clients, if you're just a person who would like to know what's going on in your credit. Either way, this is going to be a valuable service. All right, so getting right into this, this is a real customer, a real credit report. We've obviously blacked out some of the personal information in interest of privacy. But you'll notice here, I'm looking at disputes. The first thing I am going to do as a lender, for the lender, is to remove the disputes because the credit score right now that you see at 623 is not really their real credit score because disputed items, the derogatory nature of the disputed items, is not being calculated into the algorithms of Experian at this present time. So in other words, these accounts just aren't counting towards the credit score. So a lender is not going to lend money to someone who this is not their real credit score. So we have to simulate removing the disputes to see what the real score is going to be once that derogatory information is now calculated into their particular credit score. So with this tool, I'm going to remove the dispute and see if this person is still qualified or still their scores or where their scores are going to end up. So I'm going to remove this education dispute. We see that there's no change, so that's good news. I'm going to remove the next one, simulate removing the next one, and we see a very small reduction in score to 619. You know, just so you know, many times when you remove dispute, scores can drop 50, 60, 70 points. So it's a huge player in developing a strategy for our clients. So I'm going to come down here to this very last one, and I'm going to remove that one, and we see that we're at 619. So now I'm going to look just from experience. I see here this particular account here has been charged off. So just from my experience, I'm going to go there first because there could be some points there if this is paid down. Now, this person can negotiate with this creditor since the item has been charged off and the creditor has basically written it off as a bad debt. They can possibly negotiate with them a lower payoff, but let's just say they can't, and we zero this one out, or we pay the entire 2442 down, and we see that we do get 15 points added to the credit score. So this is a major player of where we can get some points. The next place I'm going to look is in the revolving account, i.e. credit cards. And the first thing I'm going to notice is the balance of 290 is almost the same as the credit limit. So the closer we get to the balance getting to the credit limit, the more it's going to affect the score negatively. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this down. I'm going to pay this down to $10, not zero. Many times paying it down to zero will actually not give you as many points, and sometimes you lose points. It's crazy, but sometimes you do. In this particular case, paying it down to $10 we pick up another 4 points, and I'm almost at my goal, my threshold goal of a 640, not quite there yet. I'm looking at this Fingerhut account below. We see that it's already at 16% of the credit, so probably not going to get any points, but let's try it nonetheless. $10 there, so we don't get any points there, but it was worth a try. All right, so we can see that we're very, very close to getting this person qualified under Experian with a 639 credit score. I'm trying to get to 640 because we're going to see a lot of benefits to this borrower here. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do, I mentioned earlier in this particular overview that this is a tremendous prerequisite for those who are considering credit repair as an option to help them get qualified. So what we want to do just first of all is see if paying off, this particular client has 2 collections, would paying off this account help them? Because many people will tell them common sense would simply dictate, hey, pay off your old collection, it's going to help your credit score. That's not necessarily the case, and in many cases your scores actually go down. That's an explanation for another time. But we don't want to just arbitrarily pay off collections without using a service like this to find out what collections could benefit from paying them off or paying them down. So I'm going to simulate paying this one off down to 0, and we see we get no change. All right, so now I'm going to look at the other one and pay it down as well, pay it off. There is no benefit whatsoever for this client to pay those collections from a lending perspective. They might want to just do it from a moral perspective, but there is no benefit to them to pay these off because it's not going to help them get qualified. And as we notice also, these are medical collections. And as you may know, FHA does not require medical collections to be paid. So this would be something that a client would really want to know about, as opposed to just kind of shooting in the dark and paying something off thinking it might help them. So that would save them well over $1,000 there in collections that would benefit them, not benefit them at all. So the next thing would be, well, let's get a credit repair service to delete these accounts. Since paying them off doesn't help me, what if they were deleted as if they never happened, which is what credit repair agencies try to do. They try to delete them. So we can actually, with this tool, simulate deleting the account and see if there's any benefit if they're deleted. I'm going to do that. Nothing. We do not get a benefit. So I'm going to delete the other one. Nothing. So there is no benefit whatsoever for a credit repair agency to come in and say, hey, we'll take care of this for you and all will be well. Well, they may get these deleted, but it's not going to get you any closer to qualifying. And that's why this tool works directly with lender guidelines. Instead of wasting your money and spending money where you don't want to spend it, this tool can create that precise, customized information that you're going to need to make quality decisions and save a lot of money. All right. So anyway, that's the brief overview. Take a look at the more exhaustive view of this same report. You're going to see some fascinating things evolve that are even more powerful on the longer exhaustive view. Thanks for listening.